Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Yesterday's video brought out a lot of negativity when it comes to Josh Heupel in recruiting. It's always hot and cold, right? It's either Josh Heupel can't recruit or Josh Heupel's a great recruiter. There's never any middle ground. I guess that's just the world of the internet. But we were talking about Shady Hayward. We were talking about Charles House. We were talking about Onus Conan Banny. Three guys that Tennessee was the clear-cut front runner for. They take some official visits, then all of a sudden they're trending away from Tennessee. Tennessee still has an opportunity to close on some of those guys, and I think that's kind of been the theme. Josh Heupel needs to be better at closing, and I think he's going to have the opportunity to do that in the class of 2025. But when you talk about clear-cut overall recruiting, I think Josh Heupel's done a pretty good job. I think he needs to take another step. I think he needs to be a little bit more elite and, again, close on some of these big-time prospects. But to say Josh Heupel can't recruit, to say Josh Heupel has not signed any elite talent, I think you just need to look at the defensive line unit. I think you could also look at the quarterback room. We're never going to have a problem recruiting at the quarterback position as long as Josh Heupel is in charge. And you look at what he's done with the quarterback since arriving at Tennessee. Look at Hendon Hooker, your 2022 SEC Offensive Player of the Year, led the country in points per game that year. Look at his numbers at Virginia Tech compared to Tennessee. I remember when Hendon Hooker transferred to Tennessee, all the Virginia Tech fans on Twitter, on social media, in the comments section saying, you're not getting much. He didn't do anything here. He threw for 9 touchdowns and 5 interceptions in 2020. But then the numbers that he put up under Josh Heupel, throwing for 58 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. And then again, third-round NFL draft pick. Joe Milton didn't play very good, right? Not a very good player. Not who we wanted. Not elite. Not the kind of player that we're going to talk about years from now as legends going and beating Alabama like Hendon Hooker did. But Joe Milton still got drafted. 6th-round NFL draft pick. If you look at the numbers, again, from Michigan, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He threw 10 touchdowns in 2022 as a backup. 0 interceptions, 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions this past season. If you look on paper, Joe Milton really didn't have that bad of a season, but he just wasn't that elite level prospect. But still, I think Josh Heupel got the most out of Joe Milton. And now you look at recruiting. Nico Iamaleava, 5-star quarterback, the on-3 number 1 ranked player in the class of 2022. You follow that up with Jake Merklinger, a 4-star quarterback, number 12th ranked quarterback in the country in the class of 2023, and a guy that, I think is very underrated. He's a gunslinger. He's a competitor. Being able to follow up Nico, that was a challenge for Josh Heupel. How are you going to get your guy in that class? Jake Merklinger said, I'm up to the challenge. I'm coming here to compete. And then George McIntyre in the class of 2025, 5-star quarterback, on 3, number 3 ranked quarterback in the country, 16th ranked quarterback player overall, and number 1 ranked player out of the state of Tennessee. So I think that's a pretty good track record when you look at that quarterback room. And oh, by the way, the quarterback competition in 2026 could get a whole lot more interesting because the number 1 ranked player in the country, Faizon Brandon, has been predicted to Tennessee. Steve Wiltfong drops the Fong bomb, locks in an expert prediction for Tennessee to land the 2026 5-star quarterback Faizon Brandon. We're going to talk about Faizon Brandon. We're going to get into it, but as always, I need you guys to do that YouTube stuff for me. Smash the thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you click that bell for notifications. You're not going to miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. We're going to be live later tonight, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. The last ride, the final live stream in the OG Talkin VAWLS studio. We will say farewell to this empty, barren wasteland of a room. Tonight, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. You want to go a little bit more, think about hitting that join button over there. It's right beside subscribe. You can become a member of the channel for just $1 a month. We say for the fans, by the fans around here, but also fan-funded. Could not do this without you guys. So if you would think about hitting that join button, custom Talkin VAWLS emojis, access to fan call-in shows. You get a power T beside your name in the chat and in the comment section. We would greatly appreciate that support. But let's jump into it. Let's talk about Faizon Brandon. Again, the 247 Sports number 1 ranked player in the country. He is a 5-star according to the On3 industry rankings, also according to 247 Sports. And guess what? Eventually, he's going to be an On3 5-star as well. You can see they've got him there just outside the top 10, comes in as the 11th best player in the country, but the number 1 ranked quarterback in the country. 6'3.5", 195 pounds, out of Greensboro, North Carolina. You can see there the On3 recruiting prediction machine, almost at 85% after Steve Wiltfong locks in the Fong bomb, predicting Faizon Brandon to Tennessee. Let's take a look at his highlights, and I'll go through a scouting report. If you're not familiar with Faizon Brandon and what he brings to the table, We'll roll the tape there. Now, this is from Andrew Ivins. This is the director of scouting at 247 Sports. Says he's an ascending signal caller that possesses a rare blend of pocket passer size and dual threat athleticism to go along with a high-powered arm. Had as good of a sophomore season as any of the 2026 quarterbacks, ranking first in a number of key statistical categories, including completion percentage, yards per attempt, and turnover rate. Rhythmic as a passer, getting the ball out fast and to his playmakers, likes to stay on schedule with his clean footwork, shows poise in the face of pressure, accurate to the numbers, and has found plenty of success attacking the intermediate level, but deep ball placement can be a bit uneven. Says effective on designed runs with his acceleration and his natural twitch in both the upper and lower halves is ideal for run-pass options. Certainly benefited from throwing up to a pair of power forward wide receivers in his first year as a starter, but game tape shows a potential game breaker at the next level. That's just starting to scratch the surface of what he could be, especially when you factor that he's younger for the grade. Actually just celebrated his 16th birthday inside of Neyland Stadium, camped at Tennessee this past Saturday for the night at Neyland, did Faizon Brandon. A lot of good comments coming out of that. That's where, the Fong bomb comes in there, predicting Faizon Brandon to Tennessee. But again, that was this past Saturday. He's been in Knoxville 6 times in less than a year, including 3 games in the 2023 season. But coming out of the night at Neyland, he said he was very happy to get coached by Coach Hype. Likes the way Coach Halsley coaches up the quarterbacks, the way they put guys into the league. Again, develop guys and put them into the league. And again, not to just keep throwing darts at the dartboard on Joe Milton. Joe Milton just wasn't that guy. I think he was good. I think he was efficient. We had the conversations so many times throughout the season. Give me one game that Joe Milton won for you, right? He didn't get you beat. He didn't hurt you. Maybe didn't cost you many games. But what game did Joe Milton go out there and single-handedly take this football team, put them on his back, and go out and win? I think we would all be in agreement that Joe Milton was a little bit of an underachiever of what we want to be at Tennessee. But still, Josh Heupel developed him. Josh Heupel got the most out of him. Even though the offense was frustrating at times, I think they dialed that offense down to what Joe Milton was capable of doing. And that got him a 6th-round NFL draft pick. This was a quote coming out of that camp this past Saturday. I love their offense. They do a lot of good things. They do some things that we do at my high school, so I like that also, and how the coaching staff is a great coaching staff. They're very poised, definitely people you want to be around when things are going wrong. They're not going to get too high or too low. They're going to try to keep everything just right on a steady line, so definitely a great place. Now, he said he plans to start narrowing down the list. Said he may drop a top 5 here shortly, but then he plans to focus on 5 schools, drop a top 5 going into his junior season this fall. And then he wants to make a decision sometime after that season wraps up. Look, quarterbacks typically jump in the boat early, right? They're not the ones that go through the summer visits and take things down to the wire. Some of them will, but as of right now, you've already got 3 of your top 10 quarterbacks in the class of 2026 have already come off the board. Faizon Brandon said he wants to get it done early, sometime after this junior season coming up this fall. He's going to continue to camp throughout the summer. He'll be at Florida State on June the 9th, LSU on June the 15th, Alabama on June the 22nd, and then follows that up at Penn State on July the 27th. But Tennessee's been in a good spot for Faizon Brandon for quite some time. They were his first SEC offer. Steve Wiltfong puts in the official prediction for the Vols to land the number 1 player in the class of 2026. What are your thoughts? Jump into the comment section. Let's talk about it. That 2026 quarterback competition is going to be something to watch. Look, we plan to have Nico for 2 years, right? We plan to have him for the 2024 season, the 2025 season, then we hope he is off to the NFL. Another quarterback in the league, right? How many is Josh Heupel going to put in the league? Hendon Hooker, Joe Milton, Nico Iamaleava. Who will be the next great quarterback at Tennessee? Will it be Jake Merklinger? Will it be George McIntyre? Or can Faizon Brandon come in and compete with those guys as a true freshman? It's going to be fun to watch. Let's talk about it in the comment section. As always, make sure you guys smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. Go check out the Talkin VAWLS merchandise. You can do that at bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. The link is also in the description below. As always, shout out to all the members of the channel. Appreciate the way you guys support what we're trying to do around here. Last live stream in the Talkin VAWLS studio tonight, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Even if you don't hang out long, come hang out, come say hello, and let's talk a little Tennessee football, because this is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name's Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.